I was the first woman to prosecute a murder case in my county of Westchester in New York. I had to prove I was every bit as smart, capable, and prepared as a man, stand on my own 2 feet in front of a jury, and yes, even do it in high heels. Never once did I say I didn't know the facts, didn't know the law, or didn't know my case. And I never hid behind my boss. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. This week, Susan Rice rears her head after 11 weeks in hiding on her Benghazi misstatements. But she didn't explain her total lack of candor to the American people. Instead, she raised even more questions about her fitness to be Secretary of State.
I don't trust her. And the reason I don't trust her is because I think she knew better, and if she didn't know better, she shouldn't be the voice of America. Somebody has got to start paying a price around this place.
This week, we learned Susan Rice was the head of the African region for our State Department in 1998, when the embassy bombings occurred in Kenya and Tanzania, and that the diplomats there, too, had begged for additional security. Sound familiar? Even more shocking, though, is that Rice was not prepared to answer any questions about her role then, saying she didn't remember. You don't remember that diplomats begged for more security? You don't remember that more than 220 people were killed and more than 4,000 wounded? But enough of that. The president says you've done an exemplary job at the UN.
Let me say specifically about Susan Rice. She has done exemplary work. She has represented the United States and our interests in the United Nations with skill and professionalism and toughness and grace.
Really? 40,000 civilians killed in Syria, children shot in front of their parents, parents tortured in front of their children, and no sanctions passed by the UN. Iran also gets on the UN Women's Rights Commission. Sharia law, anyone? And you're not even in the audience when Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu addresses the UN General Assembly. But now enter the outraged.
So there is a clear, in my opinion, a clear sexism and racism that goes with these comments that are being made by, unfortunately, Senator McCain and others.
So for anyone to question her credentials, they have to be a racist and a sexist. Really? Because John McCain wants straight answers and hasn't gotten them, he's a racist? If he's a racist, why did John McCain vote for Clarence Thomas for Supreme Court, Colin Powell for Secretary of State, and Condi Rice, an African-American female, for Secretary of State? All right, so now we eliminate racism and sexism. Your outrage is now based on what? I hope there's no suggestion that she be held to a lower standard because of who she is. And how about that she outright lied and dug her heels in? That she made a decision to tell the American people that the killing of 4 Americans was a spontaneous protest about a YouTube video when everyone from the State Department, the White House, the Pentagon knew in real time that it wasn't. Ambassador Rice, you dug your heels in right after the president of Libya said there was no doubt that the attack was pre-planned, and even the talking points said al-Qaeda was involved. We just want to know now, who took out the words al-Qaeda? And why did you agree to go on television when you admittedly knew nothing about Benghazi? Might it have been to mislead the American people in the run-up to the election? And even worse, when the administration admitted it was a pre-planned terrorist act, you never came out and said, you know, I was wrong. You wait until after the election. And by the way, if you knew nothing about Benghazi, why didn't Hillary do the shows? She was in town. But then again, maybe I protest too much. She did take full responsibility.
Well, I'm responsible for the State Department, for the more than 60,000 people around the world.
If Senator McCain and Senator Graham and others want to go after somebody, they should go after me.
It's great to take full responsibility and not hide behind one's race or gender. It's not so hard to do. People will actually respect you for your competence and your honesty. And it's even easy to do in high heels.